What's up, Channon?
What's going on, my
Channon,
fellow Blazer fans?
you got Robbie,
An updated, enlarged version of Trevor Ariza, ready for the league.
and he's young still too. He's
Exactly, that's what I'm
he's
saying.
in the prime of his career.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. We just took Trevor Ariza back 8 years, baby.
So
Gave
that
him a
means
little
you
more
got.
size.
So that means you only have a second round pick now.
Dude, we have enough young guys to develop.
Do you
Right.
know who else was a second round pick, Channon? Gary Trent. Let's go.
If you want to give me another Gary Trent, go ahead.
Who would? We'll probably obviously get into this later, but you already probably have in mind who they'll pick. But so this episode's going to be mock draft. But since right, are we
There's
doing
a lot going on. There's a lot going on. Hang on.
We're gonna do some news and then
Yes.
a mock draft.
First, Jonah is going to react to a little bit of news because there was one or two trades today, one or two big transactions. It started off with Chris Paul. Chris Paul going to the Suns, correct?
Well, the first trade, if we're just gonna take it in chronological order, was
I was just talking about today.
Oh, just today? Yeah. Well, Chris Paul was the second today. The first of today was actually Bruce Brown to the Nets for Shannon Musa and a 2021 second round pick.
Correct.
Which I liked that trade quite a bit for the Nets. Didn't understand it for the Pistons, but for the Nets, definitely Brown will be a rotation player. Probably as soon as he lands in Brooklyn, he'll be the best defensive player in the Nets backcourt. So I think that was a win for them. Mm-hmm. I didn't really understand it from the Pistons perspective, letting go of a young player who played quality minutes for them and seemed to be on a positive trajectory. I don't really think the second round pick makes it worth it from a Detroit perspective.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, and then yesterday we had a very interesting trade, which was Oklahoma City sending Dennis Schroder to the Lakers.
Wait, that actually went through?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. Okay, sick.
Yeah, Dennis Schroder to the Lakers for Danny Green and a first-round pick. And Channon, do you want to open us up on this one? The Dennis Schroder trade?
What'd you say?
I said, do you want to lead us off with your thoughts on the Dennis Schroder trade?
Oh, yeah. I think it's... Okay, wait. The Thunder got what? Danny Green?
Yep, Danny Green and the 25th overall pick.
Okay, yeah. So
overall pick.
I don't really know what the Thunder want to do with that. I don't really know. I don't really feel like that gives them a whole lot. I think it's fantastic for the Lakers. I think Dennis Schroder is the perfect point guard to play with LeBron and Anthony Davis because he is he's the third head to the dragon in a super casual way because he's slept on. He's super slept on. He's super aggressive. Great shot creator. He's like one of those like scrappy guys. You know what I mean? Like he is like, I said this to Jonah earlier. He like has a similar play style to LeBron in that he's that shot creator, but it's not in like a ball dominant Russell Westbrook type way.
No,
like he fits into a team well. He fit into a team that was ran by CP3 perfectly. Like he doesn't have to be like head honcho. You know what I mean? So I think he's a perfect point guard pickup.
Yeah, and he'll try hard on defense too, which is good.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I unfortunately think I'm going to have to disagree slightly with your guys' opinions. I like Dennis Schroder from a basketball standpoint. I definitely think that a backup creator was something the Lakers kind of lacked, especially when you consider I don't really think anybody's counting on Rondo to give us a repeat of that playoff performance, and now it's rumored that he's not even coming back to the Lakers. So I do think backup point guard was a hole, and the Lakers definitely filled that. My question is it worth it to give up Danny Green? I know it was very much in vogue, especially amongst Lakers fans, to kind of be a Danny Green pessimist after his shooting woes during the playoffs, but he was still a very solid player for them. Probably, aside from LeBron, their best defender on the wing.
That's true, but is my mic like picking me up? Like, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you sound beautiful.
They have like that he was one of the premier wing defenders of that team, but they have such a strong defense. I don't feel like it'll expose them as much as it would other teams. Like if let's say the Blazers had Danny Green. If we lost Danny Green after having him, it would be an enormous hole for us because we would depend on him so much more than I think the Lakers do. And yeah, they might be sort of weak on that wing defense, but they also have Anthony Davis who can slide over and step in front of guys, and they have so much length down low, and getting to the shots might be hard, but I don't think it'll expose them as much as it would other teams.
Yeah. And that sort of brings me to my primary concern with this trade, which isn't necessarily the loss of Danny Green, but the opportunity cost of trading him. And that sort of feeds into one of my bigger concerns, which is just what I would describe as the overall laziness that I've seen out of Rob Pelinka ever since he took the reins of this Lakers team. So just the way I like to think about it is, I don't think Danny Green is going to finish the year in a Thunder uniform. I think
me either.
I think they're going to be able to find some team to, at the very least, give them expiring salary and a couple second-round picks, maybe, if not a first-round pick.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just have a hard time believing that there isn't one team in the NBA who the Lakers could have traded Danny Green for and gotten a couple expiring contracts and maybe a couple, or maybe a second round pick. And then they could have taken those expiring contracts and traded them to OKC and sort of turned it into a 3-team deal. And Rob Pelinka didn't do that. And instead he kind of let the Thunder win this trade twice, because the Thunder got a first round pick for Schroder, and now they're going to get even more assets when they trade Danny Green. So I kind of think Rob Pelinka may have undercooked this trade idea.
Yeah, that is a little lazy. I mean, because like Danny Green's a guy who fits on any team, so it's not hard to find people who want to add him to the roster. You know, he's kind of that same Robert Covington type of player, who, if you don't know, was recently added to the Portland Trail Blazers.
And that even brings me back to last summer when I thought Pelinka, well, I guess 2 summers ago now, where I thought Pelinka did an absolutely terrible job of negotiating the Anthony Davis trade. And I think the through line between these two trades is, yes, they're bad negotiating, but I think they're going to help the on-court product in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
But I just think Pelinka gave up so much stuff to New Orleans when it was confirmed that Anthony Davis not only wanted to leave New Orleans, but wanted to sign with the Lakers if he hit free agency the next year. So the Lakers just had so much leverage in that situation, and yet they still basically let David Griffin and the Pelicans name their price for Anthony Davis. I just think Rob Pelinka is probably one of the worst negotiators in the NBA, but I mean, he won a championship, so.
Yeah.
So I guess we already touched on the Nets Pistons trade, so I guess that takes us to Chris Paul. To Phoenix Suns. For Kelly Oubre.
Was it just that?
No, for Kelly Oubre, Ricky Rubio, Ty Jerome, Jalen LeCue, and a first-round pick, which I love stuff like this, where it's one of the most heavily protected first-round picks I've ever seen. Top 12 protected in 2022, turns into top 10 protected in 23, turns into top 8 protected in 24, turns into unprotected in 2025. So I guess it's not that heavily protected, just a very creative construction on that pick protection.
Dang, bro, they're getting a lot of things.
Dude,
for one man.
I was watching Jalen LeCue highlights. Nasty. Absolutely nasty, dude.
He's got some hops for
some explosion, kid. Super sneaky explosion, bro. He's coming down the court like taking one step past the free throw line, just crazy.
And if there's a team that can appreciate like an raw athletic kid like that, I feel like it's the Thunder. They
definitely
their thing. And so I guess I'll lead us off this time. I love the fit of Chris Paul on Phoenix. They want to compete this year. They want to compete as soon as possible. And this is definitely a move that will allow them to do that. I think they're immediately probably the favorite for a 7 or 8 seed in the Western Conference. I guess my main concern is I saw a lot of potential for them to add a point guard at some point during this offseason, and potentially a point guard who not only is younger than 34, but is possibly on a timeline that would fit better with Mikal Bridges, DeAndre Ayton, Devin Booker. I'm just worried that the Phoenix Suns might be shooting their wad a little bit prematurely here by adding a veteran point guard to a team that has such a promising future. I mean, you look at Fred VanVleet, who they could probably afford in free agency, Killian Hayes, who will most likely or could possibly be available with their pick. Chris Paul will definitely maximize their potential for this season, but is that trade worth it?
Yeah, that's what I was confused about too. Because obviously they're not going to compete this year, But 5 years from now, you keep developing Devin Booker, Ayton, all these guys, all these young guys, they might be able to.
Yeah.
But Chris Paul is not going to be around in 5 years.
Exactly. Yeah, you're kind of limiting your upside by this.
Yeah.
You're kind of maximizing your floor this season and maybe limiting your upside 5 years from now, which is what I would be most focused on. And for what it's worth, I have no idea what's going on in Phoenix. For all we know, Devin Booker could be telling the front office, telling James Jones that he's going to want to leave if they don't make the playoffs in the next couple of years. So maybe it's more of a high leverage, high pressure situation than we understand it to be. But if they're content just to develop as a young team, I would have liked to see where that was going instead of adding Chris Paul.
Yeah. I mean, maybe kind of just a culture shift to kind of get Booker and these other guys into kind of the winning mindset. You know what I mean? Just kind of learn what it feels like to win a little bit.
Absolutely.
So that when Chris Paul moves out of there, it's not because if you add a young point guard, if you add Fred VanVleet, I don't say I'm they're making the playoffs for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to get over that hump with all young guys. You know what I mean?
Definitely. Yeah. That's a good point too. Just the culture setter. Kellan, do you have any thoughts about this trade?
I mean, I don't know. I like it, but definitely, like you said, it's definitely a win now kind of move, but I don't know.
Yeah.
And so what else was there today?
Well, let's hop on to the Milwaukee Bucks, who acquired Jrue Bledsoe.
Yeah, I don't know how.
Up a treasure trove that included 3 draft picks, 2 pick swaps, George Hill, and Eric Bledsoe. And keep in mind, the majority of these picks will convey at a time where it's far from guaranteed that Giannis Antetokounmpo is a member of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's sketchy for them because right now I don't feel like the Bucks need picks, but if Giannis gets up out of there, you got to build something new. Yeah. But George Hill's kind of a big loss. He was pretty good this year.
I agree. I think that's an underrated part of this trade. George Hill was nice for him.
Yeah, but damn, dude, Jrue Holiday, I think is such a good fit to play with Giannis.
Yep. Yeah.
He's you take the defensive soundness of Bledsoe and you add more offensive capability, which is what Bledsoe lacked.
And
can you go through what the trade was again?
Yeah, so we don't know what the 5 picks are, or 3 picks and 2 swaps. Excuse me. So it's just 3 picks and 2 swaps, which are like I said, we don't know what they are, and then Eric Bledsoe and George Hill for Jrue Holiday.
Dang. Okay. Yeah, that's sick, dude. Jrue Holiday is so freaking good.
I'm glad to see Jrue Holiday move out of New Orleans.
Yeah, and I pretty much agree with Channon. The Bucks definitely mortgaged their entire future. If Giannis and Holiday leave this year in free agency, it's going to be a very dark decade for the Milwaukee Bucks. But I do think Giannis is a back-to-back MVP, the best player they've had since Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They've got to maximize their chance.
Yeah, they got to do
this year. And I think I haven't really had a chance to think it through. But I've got to imagine, I think right now I'd probably peg them as my favorites to win the championship. I think this trade makes them a great team.
I'm just wondering. I'm wondering if the rumors about the Nets have like played into this trade at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if they kind of saw the whispers and they're like, we got to make something happen. Like maybe they had this like drawn up and they like were just kind of like thinking about it. And then when they saw that, they're like, yeah, we gotta.
Yeah. Which thank you for reminding me my other outtake of this trade. The Pelicans have Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, and Spencer Dinwiddie, as well as all their future first-round picks. They could have easily beat this Bucks offer if they wanted to, and I wonder why they didn't. What could they have been holding on to those assets for?
Wait, what do you mean?
I'm just saying, like maybe a potential James Harden trade in the works.
Wait, are you talking about the Nets?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But who did I say?
You said the Pelicans, I think.
Oh, the Pelicans. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I meant.
And then I was like, wait, did the Nets trade happen or something? I was so
no.
I was so confused.
My bad.
No, you're good.
Yeah, I meant the Nets. Yeah, the Nets could have beat the Nets could have beat the Bucks offer for Jrue Holiday. They didn't, so maybe they're keeping their powder dry. If the James Harden talk escalates.
Is the James Harden thing could that happen this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. He declined 2-year, like what, 100 million or something like that.
He declined getting 50 mil a year.
Yeah, the first player ever. So he's out of there, dude.
See you later.
He's out of there, bro. It's crazy. We were just talking about Houston. We were like, oh, James Harden's not leaving yet.
KD, Kyrie, James Harden.
Yeah,
that's scary. That's a scary. And then you have like Karis LeVert coming off the bench.
I don't know how a winner emerges, bro. There's so many good teams.
Yeah. And then you obviously have the Heat, which is crazy.
Yeah, bro. The Celtics?
The Celtics are stacked.
I don't see the Heat really making strong of a push.
Really? Because last time we were talking about this, like Channon was like, the Heat are there too, man. Like you never know. Because I was talking about how the Nets, because looking at their roster, it's kind of scary.
Well, that was pre James Harden whispers and pre Holiday trade.
And I mean, Karis LeVert's going to be a part of any package Brooklyn constructs for James Harden. So he's kind of going to be a sunk cost if we start considering Harden as a net. But it still is. I'd watch every Brooklyn Nets. I'd watch all of their games. They'd be the most entertaining team that I can ever think of. And so I guess we might as well get to the big kahuna. Robert Covington to Portland for Trevor Ariza and 2 first-round picks. Channon, what are your thoughts?
Portland Trailblazers. Like I said, I think it's clear that the goal here is to keep going off of the two-headed dragon of Dame and CJ. We're not going for a third star. We're going for complementary players who can help them out. And I think that's a good move because we have other fantastic ISO players. We have Melo. I think Rodney Hood is a fantastic mid-post player. He's got good size and he's strong at his position. And now we add this player who's lights out shooter, premier defender. I think that's an absolutely perfect move. I prior to this, I was thinking that I kind of wanted to add that third star presence, but I'm happy with this, and I think it makes sense.
And the opportunity cost of trading the pick, I don't think it's too high.
No,
because I know the rumors have been flying that Neil Olshey's favorite prospect in this draft is Jay Scrubb, who will, in all likelihood, be available with our second round pick, number 46. So I think the Blazers can sort of have their cake and eat it too in that sense. I'm going to be very anxious to see what the protection is on our 2021 pick we give up. Yeah. But if it's anything like above top 10 protected, if it's top 10 protected, if it's lottery protected, I think this deal is a no-brainer for the Blazers.
Yeah, for sure. I was so excited about getting Trevor Ariza, and like obviously in the back of my head it was like he's old, like he's not the same player he has been, but this is like what I wanted Trevor Ariza to be. Yeah,
probably one of the better defenders at the forward position.
Yeah, I'd say he's one of the best, if not the best, just like role playing 3-and-D guy in the league right now.
Absolutely.
And I remember we watched him play when he was with Minnesota and Portland.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
When you say like protected pick or whatever, does everything just depend on how well the Blazers do or how well the other team does? Because like, how does that work?
Yeah, so basically if a pick is top 10 protected, if the Blazers pick is in the top 10, they get to make the pick. And if it's 11 through 30, the Rockets get to make the pick.
Mm.
And
I don't that you can do that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be top 10 protected. I don't know what the protection is going to be, but that's sort of the idea with it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, that's a good pickup. He's so good, dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, the poor Rockets. They're gonna be rebuilding.
It's so funny, dude. It's so funny. We were just talking about him, dude, and so much has changed. Like, they absolutely fell apart in every possible way.
Yep. Yeah, definitely.
And like, I feel like pieces might continue to move. Like, I feel like there's teams who might want to sign a player like PJ Tucker. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah. Especially, I think he's an expiring contract this year. So there for sure some teams that
I could see him as like a Knick or something.
Yeah, possibly.
I could see that, but I could also see a contender wanting to add him.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I think the Knicks,
or Clipper.
The Knicks might have enough power forwards for right now. Give that a rest. The Clippers would be interesting if they don't bring back Marcus Morris. I don't really see maybe a team. This would be strange, but what about a team like Denver?
I was just thinking of Denver. If
they don't bring back Millsap.
That's what I was thinking, yeah.
Yeah, that could be a fit.
I think that would make sense. Obviously a little less productive than Millsap, but
yeah.
Definitely a good player.
So are you any thoughts on trades, or are you guys ready to move on to the mock draft where we will inevitably talk about some more trade possibilities?
Not really.
Dude,
I was just
such an exciting day, bro. The only thing I'm waiting on is that James Harden.
There's just been so much stuff that went down, and then obviously like who like the mock drafts have Anthony going number 1 now.
Yeah.
Which is pretty.
I'm just so glad the Blazers did something, dude.
Yeah.
I was scared we weren't gonna do anything and just draft some bum.
No, but this I could not be happier about.
Me either. I did not consider him an option at all, but I just wasn't thinking about the fact Houston's falling apart, and then he obviously became available because of that. And I just perfect, dude. I'd way rather have Covington than Gallo.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I guess this does kind of close the door on a Danilo Gallinari sign and trade, but yeah, that's okay because like you said, I'd much rather have Covington.
Yep. Or also, I'd much rather have them Oubre also, which is the guy we talked about.
Yeah.
Dang.
Oubre is gonna be the best player in Oklahoma City Thunder history, though. So
facts.
I would feel terrible.
No, Lou Dort, bro. What are you talking about?
Guess we'll agree to disagree.
That's my boy. He's a tank.
So are you guys ready to move on to the mock draft?
Yeah. Let's do it, yeah.
Dude, I felt so special giving me a password to look at that file.
I know, dude. I was like, what the freak is this, bro?
Through it.
Who made this?
Let's not talk about that here. I'd hate to get in trouble. But you guys subscribe to The Athletic at all?
Negatory. Is it for basically everything?
Yeah, it's probably the best sports journalism website in the world. So basically what they're talking about is the draft preview released by Sam Vecini, who is probably one of, if not my favorite draft analyst, NBA draft analyst.
Dang, bro.
Yeah, very interesting article, 100,000 words, 91 pages. Great read.
Yeah, it's so in-depth on each guy.
Yeah. Even Trace Tinkle gets his little breakdown. So I guess, so for the draft, mock draft, I want to lay down some ground rules. This is sort of a hybrid. I'm going to be making picks, and then Kellan and Channon will sort of be providing their analysis or some alternative options after I make the pick. And so the picks are kind of a hybrid between what I expect teams to do and what I would do if I were the teams. So basically, if intel or rumors are available as to like what direction a team is leaning, or if I can kind of read the tea leaves based off the history of a certain GM as to which prospect they might be more inclined to pick, then I'll go in that direction. And absent of any tea leaves to read, I'll just sort of pick who I would draft if I were in that team's shoes. This is kind of a fool's errand because inevitably we'll have more trades in the next couple of days that involve that involve first round picks, and I could make some trades just for the fun of it, but that's just kind of gets
Let's
messy.
go, baby. It's trade season. It's so lit.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna I'll give my like ideas of certain trades that I think are more possible than others, but I won't make any trades for this official mock draft. But without further ado, should we get on to the first overall pick?
I feel like I know who this is going to be. That's sick, bro.
With the first
Wait, how'd you do that?
In the 2020 NBA draft, the Minnesota Timberwolves are going to take Anthony Edwards, a shooting guard out of Georgia.
Wait, so what happened? Why is this the move now?
It's just better fit, dude.
I thought everyone was saying LaMelo Ball. I thought we thought it was LaMelo Ball. What happened?
I agree with Channon. I think LaMelo Ball is the correct play here. But the reporting today suggests that the Timberwolves might disagree with me. And because that's the most up-to-date reporting we have, I think that's where I'm going to go with this one.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards is the best physical prospect in this year's draft. He set a variety of records at the combine. The foremost one being force generated off of a first step. So basically they can like the torque and the pressure applied by a prospect while he's running. And Anthony Edwards sort of set the record for like the amount of force generated. So that's just speaks to his explosiveness and his athleticism. He also is in the 99th percentile in terms of deceleration, which is something that prospects like Luka Doncic or James Harden both really excel at. So the physical tools are there.
That makes him hard to guard, dude.
Yeah, the physical tools are there for Anthony Edwards. I think most of the concerns about him are just like the motor. Like he runs a little cold at points. He's not always the most engaged on defense. His shot selection is terrible. He doesn't have tremendous feel for the game. But if he hits, he's got an upside about as high as anybody in this draft.
So when you say deceleration, that means he just stops on a dime better than anyone else?
Yeah, correct. Yeah, change of pace, all that stuff.
Okay. So that means that's actually kind of brutal.
Yeah.
Is he a pretty good three-point shooter?
No.
Is he decent mid-range?
He's D-Wade recreated. That's what it seems like to me.
Yeah, I mean, he's got a good-looking shot. He shoots free throws at a 76% clip, and usually that is a good correlator to success as an NBA three-point shooter. I do think he'll be a good catch-and-shoot three-point taker. Like, I don't think his form is broken whatsoever. I think it's off the dribble where it starts to look maybe a little bit messy in terms of, like, sort of alignment issues. He tends to short arm a lot of the three-point shots he takes off the move and leave shots short. So I think that would be my primary concern in terms of him shooting.
The pull-up is nice though, right? Like the mid-range pull-up.
Yeah, in theory, like if he hits his 90th percentile outcome, he's going to be one of those like Donovan Mitchell, sort of maybe a Zach LaVine who can get to a shot in the mid-range and make them somewhat efficiently.
I thought isn't he more like a bruiser though? Like a little more physical than those guys?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And that's kind of goes back to what I was saying. He's probably the best physical prospect in this draft. Like 230 pounds, 7-foot wingspan. He's like built like a linebacker. Football was his first sport. So yeah, he definitely can bring
6'5" linebacker, bro. That's a big boy.
Yeah.
Wait, I mean,
6'5"?
Yeah, I think he's 6'5".
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's 6'5".
Yeah, it's big. So, yeah, definitely like a physical specimen. But,
yeah, dude, that's an NBA body right there.
Yeah, it's just, does he have the work ethic? Does he have like the skill? Because when you think about the superstar guards without tremendous feel for the game, I think the list really starts and ends with Russell Westbrook. Like, I don't really think it's hard to succeed as a guard in the NBA without like basketball IQ or feel.
Like that's basically what makes LaMelo Ball relevant, like his feel for the game.
Yeah. And Russell Westbrook is one of the most insanely competitive players in the NBA, which I don't really think you can say the same for Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
So I definitely think there's some bust potential. There's definitely some high-end, polarizing prospect. I think I'm maybe a little bit lower on him than what is the consensus.
But what you said about competitiveness, I feel like potentially the NBA could kind of bring something else out of someone than college. Like they could just be all throughout college, just be thinking about the NBA and just not really like in the moment.
It's a real
100%.
thing.
And also, I guess this is important too. Keep in mind when I'm by no means a draft expert. All of this is just kind of based on the opinions I've formed from just kind of watching film on these guys and stuff. But I'm by no means like a talent evaluator or anything like that. So this is.
I would say you are.
I would say you are also. I would also say you are.
Opinion.
I would say you are. Bro, is that just a little YouTube video that's the selection sound?
Yeah.
That's sick. That is so sick.
But before I move on to number 2, I just wanted to go back to Channon's initial reaction, is that I would definitely take Lamelo Ball here too. Yeah. I think Lamelo Ball is the best player in this draft. And the real reason I'm kind of disheartened that they're not taking him is I don't get why D'Angelo Russell is such a sacred cow in Minnesota. Like, is he really that good that he is going to prevent you from taking the top player on your draft board? I don't see D'Angelo Russell as that kind of guy. And I also don't think the fit with him and LaMelo would really be terrible.
No, we talked about that. Here's my thoughts.
LaMelo Ball is going to be a warrior, dude.
I think that I'm going to talk about that. I don't, what I think this means is that Minnesota doesn't think they're going to compete now or within the next couple of years, because I think that if they did, I think you take the feel for the game player, which is LaMelo Ball. And since they want Edwards, I feel like what they're thinking is we want to take this guy and hope that he develops, like hope that he hits this high ceiling that he might have so that we maybe can compete in 3-4 years. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Yeah.
What if he just balls out and is rookie of the year?
Yeah, that's a possibility.
And you could just, you never know.
He's probably going to take enough shots to have the resume for it. But before we move on, I would be remiss. Minnesota is strongly rumored that they want to trade this pick. And so I would say there's about a 50-50 chance that Minnesota actually makes this selection on Wednesday.
I didn't know that. What do they want to trade it for?
Well, my trade that I've put as the most likely, and I almost included this in my mock draft just because I think it makes so much sense, but then I didn't want to break my own rules. But I think it's very possible they'll trade it to the Hornets for the 3rd overall pick and Miles Bridges, just because I do think the Timberwolves need a little bit more at the wing, and the Hornets desperately want to move up in this draft. So I think that makes sense.
Yeah, they should do that.
The Hornets have the 3rd?
The Hornets have the 3rd pick. If they moved up to number 1, the pick would be James Wiseman. So
that means LaMelo Ball would be a warrior, or would they develop Anthony?
Yeah, so we'll talk about that. I guess with the 2nd overall pick in the 2020 NBA draft.
Wait, so are you going to do like 2 different, like considering the pick and what you actually think is going to happen if the draft board stays the same?
Yeah.
Okay.
So the Warriors are going to take James Wiseman with the 2nd overall pick.
Physical, I think, specimen.
Yep. Wiseman behind LaMelo Ball. I would probably rate him as my favorite prospect in this draft. He is, the day he steps on an NBA court, he's going to be one of the better rim runners in the league. 7'2", 7'6" wingspan, 230 pounds. Is it 230 or 250? I forget.
I don't know. He's a big one.
Yeah,
but he's lean though, and he has handles.
Yeah, extremely athletic. He plays above the rim. Going to be one of the best lob catchers in the NBA. On defense, he's got good shot blocking instincts. Like, it's very rare you see this kind of timing and this sort of verticality from a kid who's only 19 years old. So I think his potential is just through the roof defensively. I'm not quite as high on his primary offensive player equity as I think some people are. Like, I don't think he's going to ever get to the point where he's like a Jokic or a Cat or a Joel Embiid or somebody you can run the offense through. I think that's a little bit optimistic for him. I think where his high-end outcome lies is on defense, where he really does have defensive player of the year potential.
Oh, God, dude. The more I'm thinking about it, LaMelo Ball would be so much fun to watch. Like, I don't know, man. That would be so sick.
Yeah.
What do you think, though? I mean, obviously, Wiseman's this. Like, it's in my mind. It's like we need a dominant, or I don't know how dominant it'll be, like coming in right away. But we need an actually good big man that's semi-capable at doing other things besides rebounding. You know, but
I don't think it would make any sense for the Warriors to not take Wiseman.
Right. No, that's what I'm saying. But it would be so much fun.
Yeah.
Yes, it would be fun. It would be so much fun. Having Clay, LaMelo, and Steph on the court at the same time would be crazy.
And we've pretty much exhausted the portfolio of options for this pick on the show. Like, we've talked about the Warriors pick for months now in all sorts of contexts. And I am intrigued by the upside of Ball, but I just think Wiseman is such a good
smartest
fit.
move.
Yeah. I feel like
safest.
I feel like Steph occupies a lot of the skills that LaMelo Ball has, honestly, just like the feel for the game and creative passing ability. Obviously, LaMelo's a lot. Obviously, LaMelo, no way. obviously, LaMelo's a lot bigger, but
he is.
And one of the things that kind of sort of annoys me is there have been so many people on like ESPN or whatever over the past like few days who have
those freaking clowns,
few weeks, who have been saying like the Warriors should take LaMelo Ball, like the no rookie is going to be able to contribute on this basketball team, so you might as well just take the guy who you think has the highest upside. And I would agree with that. Like, I think LaMelo Ball is the better prospect with higher upside, but what I would push back against is I really think James Wiseman could contribute.
Oh yeah,
like I think he's better than Marquise Chris the moment he arrives in the NBA.
I love Marquise Chris, though.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I also think that if any rookie is going to contribute to a team, I feel like the Warriors is one of like those teams. Like the culture there is very much like supportive and everything. Like,
yep, dude, the Warriors are going to be an issue next year. I'm telling you, especially with Wiseman, bro.
I feel like a rookie coming to the Warriors is a lot different than if a rookie came to like the Lakers. Like they're going to blossom way more in Golden State.
Because there's no pressure to be that guy right away.
Yeah. And I think though with Wiseman, I think he'll do good. I think any player who plays off of guys like Steph and Clay and Draymond is going to look very
Draymond's playing off Draymond. Yes,
so I gotta take that one out of there.
I think that Wiseman can sort of maintain his trade value, where LaMelo is going to have some growing pains, and his trade value might decrease between December 22nd and the trade deadline. So that's why I take Wiseman. The Warriors, like the Timberwolves, are definitely involved in a lot of reporting that they might be looking to move on from this pick. I think if Wiseman falls, if Edwards or Paul goes number one, I think the Warriors will in fact take James Wiseman second overall. I think it gets very interesting if the first scenario I talked about happened. If Charlotte moves up to number one and takes Wiseman, and it's just Ball and Edwards left, I think the Warriors seriously consider moving on from this pick. Mm-hmm. And a team who has interest in LaMelo Ball and is sitting at 4 is the Chicago Bulls. So maybe you can construct a trade that is like Wendell Carter and the 4th overall pick to Golden State for the 2nd overall pick, and Chicago takes LaMelo Ball,
and we get Obi Toppin,
or more likely Tyrese Haliburton.
Okay, because I know the Warriors they like Obi. I've literally been like saying that to you the whole time.
Yeah, I would not be a fan of Obi to the Warriors. We can talk about Obi Toppin later when we get to him, but
bro, is Wendell Carter good?
I like Wendell Carter a lot. I think he's one of the players who was probably the most hurt by having Jim Boylan on the coach.
What does Tyrese play?
He plays quote unquote point guard, but I think he's going to be a shooting guard in the NBA. So basically just pencil him as
that would almost, I mean, I don't know. Like James Wiseman's definitely the move, but if things get shooken up and we end up getting a decent player and the 4th overall pick, that wouldn't be the worst thing.
No, I don't think so at all.
Bro, I cannot wait. The Warriors season is going to be fun, but if they get James Wiseman, bro. Our roster's gonna be wild.
Yep. Does anybody else have any more Wiseman or Warrior thoughts?
Coming out of the West, I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah. Yep. They're gonna be an interesting team to look out for this season.
Dude, let's go. I'm so freaking pumped for the draft. Let's go. Let's freaking go.
Wednesday. What time is it at? Because I got a song coming out at 9. So
it's at 4:00 on Wednesday.
Oh, I got time, baby. I got time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm happy we found a time that suited you best, Channon.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
So with the third pick, the Hornets are actually going to take Lamelo Ball, who has fallen down to them. Lamelo's the best player in this draft, in my opinion, has the most equity as sort of an offensive creator. Tremendous feel for the game. 6'7" at the point guard position is just awesome. I think the main concerns people have about him are a concern I don't share, and that is his shooting. LaMelo Ball jacked up some ridiculous shots that he had no business attempting during his time in Australia, and that caused his field goal percentage and three-point percentage to just absolutely tank.
He's not going to do that in the NBA.
He will. No, he will.
No, he
won't.
I
guarantee you he's going to.
He probably will a little bit, but
not. No.
But LaMelo Ball is a guy who
he does it at Charlotte, bro, or wherever. Not. I mean, when he is drafted, but he's gonna if he's a Hornet, right?
Yeah.
Who's gonna stop him?
Oh, but he's gonna contain himself a little more, being in the NBA, bro.
Yeah, and the thing I'm not worried about, though, I'm not worried about his shooting at all because he has great touch. Like, he's always been a good free throw shooter. His floater game is ridiculous. Like, he takes floaters that are practically three-pointers. Like, he takes them from, 20 feet out, just rises up for a one-handed floater. So,
dude, it's so weird. It's, literally, not long ago at all, I was watching him in high school.
I know.
And, when, freaking Lonzo was coming to the league and watching LaMelo pull it from half court in high school, pointing at the half court line and everything. Feels like...
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons why I feel like there are so many LaMelo Ball skeptics, is everybody sort of remembers him as that tiny kid with, frosted tips.
But he's actually a legit player.
He's a legit player now.
Yeah.
And I like him a lot. I think his high-end outcome is ridiculous. I don't think there's a player like LaMelo Ball in the NBA right now. If LaMelo Ball can hit his...
Bro, but high-key, though, if he ends up doing crazy stuff, what player on the Hornets is going to be come up to him and be like, bro, you need to chill out, with him listening? Nobody. Yeah. So, I mean, you never know. He could be the guy on the Hornets. That'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, he would really... there's obviously... good players on their team. They would just keep Terry Rozier, right? It's here Terry Rozier and then Devontae. They would just keep him.
Devontae Graham.
Because
there will be a log jam at point guard, but I don't think either of those two guys are good enough to dissuade me from taking LaMelo third overall.
No, yeah, for sure. But would he, because he's big enough where he could honestly play shooting guard, right? Or would he just be the primary ball handler? And
yeah, he could guard shooting guards for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means whenever he's on the court, someone else will just have to adjust.
Yeah, you can play him with Rozier and Graham. So that's not something I would be concerned with whatsoever.
Yeah, he's gonna be so good.
Yeah. So the third overall pick sort of marks the end of the first tier. I feel like LaMelo, Edwards, and Wiseman are basically guaranteed to go 1, 2, and 3 in some order. So now we're in kind of a second tier that I think lasts from the third pick to probably the 10th pick.
How many picks are we covering?
We're gonna do 30, but we're gonna start going in speed mode.
Oh, okay. Wait, but we also have to talk about. Wait, no, we don't. Never mind.
Wait, if there's something you want to talk about, we can...
Wait, no. Well, wait, didn't you say something about the Blazer or someone having a second round pick?
Oh, yeah. We can do we can just throw out some second round picks at the end. I only did it for the top 30.
No, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But Jonah.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt one more time, but it is
Robert Covington, baby. Let's go.
It is a possibility, though. If Charlotte moves up to number 1, they take Wiseman. We get the 4th or whatever, right?
Yeah.
They could pick Obi and then get whoever from the
Warriors, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would be shocked if the Warriors selected Obi Toppin.
Really?
I'd be floored. There's the very little chance.
Very little chance, though?
No chance. Sorry. I'm sorry, Kellan. I know you want Obi Toppin, but it's not going to happen.
Okay.
Maybe if they traded down like to the 7th or 8th.
Where's Obi? Obi, you don't have Obi in your top 5?
No.
Oh, okay.
The Warriors have been linked to Avdija and to Haliburton, so I would definitely say they'd be more likely to take those two, because we're gonna have a chance to do a live reaction on the show right now. The Bucks are going to trade Ersan Ilyasova, DJ Wilson, and Dante DiVincenzo as part of a sign-in trade to the Sacramento Kings for Bogdanovic.
What?
Wow, so Dante's no longer a Buck.
No longer a Buck.
Wait, can you give me a little insight on Bogdan?
Yeah, offense. He's got a freaking strap on him, knockdown shooter.
Yeah, so I guess they're looking for like some sort of release like Bogdanovic, which I definitely think is going to be something that will help the Milwaukee Bucks coming off the bench, I assume now.
Yeah,
I think.
Well, I mean, they got to play offense like the Nets. Like, they have to keep up with them.
Yeah.
And but, dude, giving up DiVincenzo, I don't know.
I guess
they're getting
DiVincenzo becomes Jrue devalued once you get Jrue Holiday.
Oh, true. That's true.
Yeah, but that's interesting. I think Bogdanovic is an underrated defender, but by no means an off-ball hawk in the same manner of a Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have to think about this one a little more, but I mean, it's a good move, I think, for the Bucks.
It's obvious they're obviously trying to put together a run and trying to get Giannis to stay, I think.
I think this is a good move, because when you're considering the best player they're giving up is Dante DiVincenzo.
Yeah, that's true.
Not giving up any picks, and Bogdanovic is a solid player. So
I actually really like him a lot.
I think I like it for Milwaukee.
Yeah, it makes sense. They need a little more offense, I think so.
Yeah. Wow, Milwaukee is getting heavily involved.
Dude, I'm just waiting for the Brooklyn news. I feel like it's inevitable.
Yeah, that's the domino that I think.
What will Harden's contract look like? Because they already have a few big like money guys.
Yeah, I mean, Harden's just another supermax contract that's going to get added to it. And that's actually another thing I wanted to hit on, which is appropriate because we just touched on the Warriors. Like, yeah, Harden's a 35% supermax guy, so extreme, another very lucrative salary being added. But the big news that came out yesterday or last night in terms of the NBA luxury tax, which is going to significantly shape the way I think Brooklyn and Golden State are going to spend, which is we knew that these tax payments would be reduced proportionally to the decrease in basketball-related income. But I kind of assumed it would be 75% of the full tax bill, but or not 75. I just assumed it would be taken off of the full tax bill, but it's actually going to be taken off of the salary pre-tax. So basically, the way I like to think about this is if you're looking at a loan, if you're thinking about a loan, the amount that the reduction is going to be taken off the principal amount of the loan instead of like the amount with the interest added. And so if you reduce the principal value of the loan, that all of a sudden makes the interest a little bit like less scary. And so I think that's going to make spending deep into the tax more palatable for teams like the Nets and Warriors.
Yeah.
So yeah, for what it's worth, I don't think that's probably interesting to very many people listening to the show, but
Obi Toppin's good.
Yeah, well,
Obi Toppin's good, bro. I'm watching highlights right now.
We'll
Let it
talk
go.
about.
He
We'll
looked
talk
good in yellow.
Let it
Golden
go,
blue.
bro. Let it go.
Why can't it happen? A lot of mock drafts have him on number going 4.
Well, maybe with the 4th overall pick, I think the Bulls.
I'm not too out of line here. It's plausible.
Yeah, maybe. I think they would be a mistake, but I'm going to talk about OB when we get down there.
When we get to him at 7 or 8.
With the 4th pick, the Bulls are going to take Tyrese Haliburton. He's a guy I've talked about on this show before. I think he has one of the highest floors in the NBA draft, sort of a combo guard, elite off-ball defender, kind of a shark playmaker sort of guy. Very high IQ, very good feel for the game. He doesn't have, I don't think, very much primary creator equity just due to his lack of athletic burst and not an elite handle. So very little creation. He has a tough time creating advantages or getting separation from a defender, but he's one of the better shooters in this draft. I think he's going to be a 40% NBA three-point shooter. He's got touch that's going to translate, and he's got distance that's going to translate to the three-point line. So, yeah, I just think a very solid, almost like a 3-and-D combo guard who can play off-ball, knock down shots, and be a disruptor defensively.
Bro, there is a picture on ESPN on their Instagram with Jrue, Chris Middleton, and Giannis, and that's scary.
Yeah, it's a scary team. And I do think that Tyrese is going to fit great on the Bulls next to Kobe and Zach LaVine, who both like to have the ball in their hands. It's been rumored for the past week that Arturas Karnisovas wants to draft a guard, which Tyrese Haliburton is. And yeah, I just think this pick makes a lot of sense for the Bulls. Haliburton is a very high character kid, going to be a great ad for their locker room. So I think I like this a lot for him.
It sucks. I need to whip out our chart here because I think
they need some high character. You feel
me?
What?
I said I think they could use a high character guy.
Oh yeah, definitely. Who can, But yeah, I guess do it either of you. I mean, yeah, like I said before, the Bulls it's been rumored that they want to move up to number 1. Or at least to a position to draft Lamelo Ball. But if they stay at 4, Tyrese is a great ad. Any Haliburton or Bulls thoughts before we move on to number 5?
I don't know anything about Haliburton. That's the Tyler Bears.
But the Bulls, they needed shooting, right? Wasn't that one of the main things we talked about, or no?
Yeah, I don't really see shooting as too big a need for them.
Crap, who was that we were talking? Sorry, my bad.
Yeah, I might have been the Knicks. We definitely thought the Knicks needed shooting. And this is one thing I wanted to touch on for the Bulls too. I think they kind of telegraphed this draft pick today when they didn't extend the qualifying offers to Chris Dunn or Shaquille Harrison. Both of them are sort of combo guards who are more defensive oriented. So by letting go of those two guys, you can kind of infer that they might be opening up a role in their rotation for Tyrese Haliburton, which I think would make a lot of sense. But that's just total speculation by me. So.
No, I think that makes sense. What was that?
So with the 5th overall pick, the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to select Deni Avdija, forward from Israel.
Oh, the Israel guy. Wait, who's selecting them?
The Cavaliers.
He's 19.
Irrelevant, bro. Who are the Cavaliers? Colin Sexton, stare down guy. That's all they got.
Yeah, so Deni Avdija is actually a prospect who I don't care for. I think people are very excited about oversized European ball handlers right now in lieu of Luka Doncic.
Yeah,
I don't quite see Avdija being close to Luka, but I don't really see Avdija being a guy who can handle an NBA offense. The thing that concerns me the most about him is the shooting. He was a 55% shooter over the course of his career on high volume. There are pretty much no players in the NBA who have gone from a 55% shooter before they got to the league and then been able to make threes. And I think the the combination of inability to shoot 3-pointers and elite athleticism is just going to make it so hard for Avdija to sort of create separation at the NBA level. I think in transition, he's interesting because he does get up and down the floor and he reads the floor amazing and can make passes. I think he's a great cutter. He's terrific at finding space and sort of great feel. So just playing off the defense, sort of finding the holes. So I definitely think his IQ will give him a spot in the NBA.
Yeah.
I just see people have compared him to like Dario Saric or Gordon Hayward, or who's the other one? There's somebody who I always hear him compared to, but I forget who it is. But I just see a lot more Mario Hezonja than either of those.
Hey, the worst player in the NBA, baby.
I think Avdija.
Dude, we got to get him off the team, bro. Now we have like an actual freaking squad. We got to get him up out of there.
Yeah. Well,
what about that other cat?
He just accepted his player option.
I'm sure he did. I don't know why he wouldn't. He would be freaking applying at McDonald's if he didn't.
Avdija only got 9 points per game, 59 games.
Yeah, and I mean, he played on one of the best teams in Europe, so it's not like he was the guy on his team, but yeah, he wasn't like the star or anything.
Yeah, I'm not feeling
He shot almost 60% from the field, though.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling the Saric or Hayward thing. I don't see it.
No, yeah, I'm not a big Deni Avdija fan whatsoever. Any thoughts on that before we move on?
Nah.
I mean, people counted out Kristaps and look what he became, but obviously he's not Kristaps.
Nah, he's not the unicorn.
Not 7 feet tall, but
yeah, but
you never know.
I mean, yeah, he could surprise me for sure. I'm just not a huge fan of his.
Hey,
Robert Covington, baby, yes sir.
What's that one dude that was that Channon was talking about the other day? He's old. Crap, that he was on the Blazers. Didn't he play like center or something?
Chris Kaman?
No. Oh, Kaman was actually kind of nice.
I don't remember what Channon was. I don't remember the
crap, bro. Who's that guy?
Center for the Blazers.
He's older than dirt.
Are you talking about Anthony Tolliver?
Yes.
He's second worst player in the. Is he in the NBA? I don't even know.
So,
wait, hang on. This is important. Okay. What's Robert Covington's number going to be? What was his number?
33.
It's going to be 0. 000. It's going to be 000.
Does Collins wear 33?
Yeah, I think you might be right.
What's going to happen there?
That'd be hilarious. They should give CJ McCollum 000 or like give.
That would be lit, dude. That would be so lit.
Carmelo like 000 and then yeah, that'd be funny.
For you.
So with the 6th overall pick, the Atlanta Hawks are going to
do your sound.
Oh, the sound. All right.
I need to look at the list because I'm starting to like not know much.
You haven't done the sound for the last 5 picks.
Should I do it for every pick?
From now on, heck yeah. You just.
All right.
With the 6th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Atlanta Hawks select Onyeka Okongwu, center out of USC.
Okay.
I think this one is going to surprise a lot of people because the Hawks just dedicated a 1st-round pick to trading for Clint Capella. But Onyeka Okongwu is a guy who I've heard the Hawks might have their eye on if Avdija and Haliburton are off the board, which they are in this case.
Don't they have Clint?
What? The Hawks? Yeah, the Hawks have Capella.
Is Onyeka a power or is he center?
He's a center.
Oh, so they're gonna have like twin towers.
I think Okongwu has more game finishing upside than Capella does. The comparison you hear a lot from Onyeka Okongwu is Bam Adebayo. I don't really see that at all.
Yeah. Well, it says he's got the bounce though. You feel me?
He does. He's an athletic kid, and I know where the comparisons to Adebayo come from. Is just like he's a center who has some switching ability. Like he can guard 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s with more credibility than a guy like James Wiseman can. Like I'm not saying he's going to stay on the quickest point guards in the NBA, but I do think he has a lot of switching upside. He can play in a bunch of different defensive schemes, which I think is something that is super intriguing in the modern NBA. Offensively is sort of where the question marks are. I think everybody kind of in agreement that he'll be good on defense. Offensively, I see sort of a role like Montrezl Harrell. He's an undersized center, but super strong, super powerful. I think he'll be good as sort of a pick and roll guy. Like Montrezl Harrell, he kind of has that straight line drive move down. Like he's nowhere near being a dynamic dribbler in the vein of a Bam Adebayo or Anthony Davis. But if he catches the ball on the block, he can do a couple hard dribbles and get himself to the basket.
Yeah.
So, the reason I don't see him as Bam Adebayo is Bam's one of the more creative.
Yeah, he's crazy offensive skill. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can put the ball on the floor and be very effective there. Onyeka is a much less intriguing offensive prospect, but he can do some Bam Adebayo-esque things on defense. And Bam's just probably one of the best athletes in the NBA, which Onyeka is not.
Yeah.
Onyeka is one of the better athletes in his class, but Bam is just a freak of nature in a way that.
Yeah, he's you're not really going to recreate that.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Dude, he was Chino Hills.
Yeah, he played with.
Oh, really?
All brothers. Yeah.
Hey.
And I guess one last thing about Okongwu is that in college, his kind of go-to offensive move was sort of a hook shot that he could take on the block. I don't think that's going to translate to the NBA whatsoever, just because of how short he is for a center, combined with he had a pretty low release point on that shot. I just don't think it's going to be effective against most NBA centers. But
I'm not feeling that.
I want to. His
how tall is he?
6'9". I think he's 6'9" or 6'10". Yeah. His defensive chops make him a very high floor pick and a good pick for the Hawks.
You know who else is 6'9"?
Yeah, I mess with that. I do know Robert Covington.
Avdija, Toppin.
Obi Toppin.
Yeah.
Let's go, bro. I want to know how
is Covington actually 6'9"?
Huh? Is he? Yeah, I want to say he actually is.
That's lit, dude. We got it.
It has been. It's been known that the Hawks are looking to move this pick for a guy who helps them to win now. And it also it's also a thing that the Celtics want to kind of consolidate their picks and maybe move up in the draft. I think Onyeka Okongwu makes a ton of sense on the Celtics roster.
Oh, freak yeah, dude. 100%.
So what if we saw a trade that was Gordon Hayward's expiring contract and
out of there, bro.
And the 14th pick in the draft and the 26th pick in the draft, and the Celtics would get in return the 6th overall pick. I think that trade makes sense for both teams. I think Gordon Hayward would be interesting on the Hawks.
Yeah, the Celtics, they need a center.
Yeah.
Wait. Who's this dude? The Hornets or the Hawks? You said?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense, dude. Freak yeah, sign that thing, bro. Get Hayward up out of Boston. I don't think that works.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think
he could have his
I think it was a good idea.
What?
His numbers could potentially explode in Atlanta.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's true. Yeah. What were you gonna say, Channon?
Oh, I think the Hayward thing made sense at the time, or it was a good idea, but it just didn't really work.
Yeah, he's just kind of been snake bit with bad luck in Boston. Yeah. Any last thoughts on the Hawks or Okongwu before we get to the 7th pick?
No, sir.
Robert Covington.
Yes, sir. I can't wait for the NBA to start.
He's gonna get locked down, dude. Draymond stuffed. James Wiseman.
Hang on, what did you just say?
Draymond's gonna stuff.
No, Robert Covington is gonna lock down Draymond Green, dude. Are you freaking kidding
me? Down Draymond Green? Are you kidding?
You actually don't have to do that. I forgot.
You don't have to do that. He's not gonna get the ball.
No one guards Draymond Green. You just ignore him because he doesn't actually matter. But Robert Covington gonna lock down
Draymond Green running the point guard though,
because he's not good at it. Anyways.
All right, who's number 7?
With the 7th pick in the NBA draft, the Detroit Pistons select Patrick Williams, forward out of Florida State.
Who the freak is that, bro? Hang on, I gotta get
one of the hot rumors.
I hate how I have to log in every single time.
I know.
One of the big rumors going around at the moment is that the Pistons have actually promised Patrick Williams. I can't speak to whether or not this is true, but I do like Patrick Williams' upside quite a bit. He's a huge kid. I think he's 6'8", 225, just very, very big. He has the frame where you can add on even more muscle, which I think is a big thing. He's very aggressive in passing lanes, sort of an off-ball disruptor.
What's this cat's name?
Patrick Williams.
He's number 9 on this thing.
Yeah, people like to compare his upside to Kawhi Leonard, which I think is a stretch just because Kawhi is on offense. But I mean, nobody could have seen Kawhi being that.
Oh, that's facts.
Graduating San Diego State. So, but yeah, there aren't very many Kawhis. But anyway, yeah, Patrick Williams, great off-ball defender. He can guard fours. I even think he can guard a lot of centers. He's a little bit slow and a little bit slow-footed to guard ones and twos in the NBA, in my opinion. On offense, he's a terrific cutter, great instinct, great feel for when to like move towards the basket. He'll get some points that way. His shooting is not the best, but I think he can be a solid like 34 to 36% shooter in the NBA, which will be good enough. And I think the thing that gets people really excited is his ability to kind of put the ball on the floor and maybe his creation equity, where like he had some Kawhi-esque moments at Florida State where he kind of uses his strength and uses his frame to get to a mid-range spot and then kind of rises up over his defender and knocks down a mid-range shot. So he sort of has the offensive game at times that is sort of reminiscent of Kawhi Leonard. And a lot of his tools are sort of unpolished right now. So I do think NBA teams believe that they can get a lot out of him, and they believe that he has a lot of improvement coming. And so he is definitely a high upside pick for the Pistons here.
Have you said Isaac Okoro?
No, bro. Patrick Williams.
Okoro yet.
Yeah, Patrick Williams.
You said him?
No, we haven't gone to him yet.
Oh, because
Patrick Williams seems to just have a ton of potential.
Yeah. The other prospect I would look at if I were the Pistons is Killian Hayes. If I wanted to take a point guard, I would have probably picked Hayes, but since there have been so many rumors about them taking Williams, I couldn't really diverge from it.
We've got some big guards in this draft.
Yeah. All these guys are big.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think besides
one of my favorite prospects in the draft is not so big, but we'll get to him soon enough.
Peyton?
No.
Oh.
You'll never guess.
Okay, come on, guys. You know when I say him, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Are you guys ready to move on from Patrick?
Oh, Stanford boy.
Yes, there you go. Way to go.
Say the name.
Tyrell Terry.
Yeah, Tyrell Terry.
Jonah's
been talking about him since like summertime, and all of a sudden he's been like climbing the draft boards, right, Jonah?
Oh yeah.
Dude, right, Jonah knows.
Yeah.
Jonah needs to be a scout, GM. Jonah's gonna be a one-man show. He's gonna be head scout, agent for all of his own players. Then he negotiates their contracts with them.
That might be a slight conflict of interest.
You try to jack up their prices, and then you go on the other side of the table like, no, we're gonna do this.
Yeah. All right. Are you guys ready to hit the 8th overall pick?
I'm ready to hit that thing. You feel me? I'm ready to hit that thing.
Nice. Okay, it's Obi Toppin.
With the 8th pick in the NBA draft, the New York Knicks select Obi Toppin.
Warrior, baby. Let's go.
No, we're talking about the New York Knicks.
Yep. He's a bit of a faller in this draft. Like Kellan said, I think some people have him going at 4 or 5.
Isaac Okoro's a faller in your draft board.
I think Toppin's gonna slip all the way to 8.
Lucky number.
I think Obi Toppin kind of sucks.
Okay, I gotta look at him now.
He looks a little stiff.
That's what I was gonna say. I don't think there's a position in the NBA he can guard on defense. I think he's way too slow to move on the perimeter with pretty much any power forward. And he's way too small to guard centers. I think the analog for him defensively is kind of his future teammate, Julius Randle. He's just sort of a man without a country on that end. On offense, sure, he's a good shooter for a big guy. I don't see him as a player who's ever going to reach 40%. So how valuable is a 36% shooting power forward? Not that great. A lot of his points in Dayton came in the post where he was able to overpower a lot of the opponents in the Atlantic 10 conference. But there aren't too many players on St. Bonaventure.
You're like roasting him, like low-key when you just said that.
Oh, this guy's bad, dude. I'm looking at his highlights right now. He doesn't look good, dude.
Jonah, you just overpowered guys in the Atlantic 10.
Like, he did have some like sick dunks in college, but how much is that really worth?
No.
Evaluating.
This looks like a college basketball player.
Yeah, I think along with Avdija.
What you're watching, he's in Dayton.
Toppin is a guy who I think is a has a lot of bust potential.
Yeah, bro, he's totally gonna bust.
The Knicks are going to be super happy to take him because he signed to the CAA agency, which Leon Rose is the ringleader of, and he's also the general manager of the New York Knicks. So,
yes, sir!
So I think the Knicks are going to be super happy to make this selection. I don't think they'll be happy about it in 2 years, so not a fan. Any other Toppin or Knicks thoughts before we move along?
They both suck, dude. This guy looks like a bum.
He looks good, dude.
He doesn't.
Little stiff, getting a couple yoga classes, and he's
it doesn't matter,
baby.
He's not dynamic, dude.
I actually do think that yoga could be something that helps Toppin a lot. I do think he should look into that.
No, honestly, I look, you can see it because he looks like he's got problems in his head, bro. Like he's got like a maybe like a masculinity complex going on. Like,
what are you talking about? You got that from a highlight tape?
Yes, I did. I'm watching it right now. He needs to work on his mindfulness and like self-compassion and stuff like that.
What are you talking about?
Insecurity, bro. And then maybe it can be an NBA caliber player. He needs to loosen up that body a little bit, shake them hips around a little bit. You feel me?
Get his chakras aligned, and then he can make it to the league.
All right. Have we said all we need to about the Knicks and Obi Toppin?
Yeah, I think just
sounds like a very Knicks type of pick.
Yeah, for sure.
Bro. Match me. No. Okay, continue.
I hate how it logs me out every time my screen goes black. Then I have to type in NBA.
Don't leak the password, bro. Don't leak the password.
I didn't say anything.
All right. Anyways, next pick.
Did you make that, Jonah, or is that just the way it is? With the 9th overall pick, Adam Silver.
2020 NBA draft.
You are
the
Adam
Washington
Silver.
Wizards select Isaac Okoro, forward out of Auburn University.
There you go. He stayed in the top 10.
Yep, he stayed in the top 10. He fell a little bit because of his severe offensive limitations where he has some potential. Like, he can shoot it below average. He can play
ugly shot
below average. And he can finish at the rim fine, but he doesn't really get there at all effectively. So
this isn't an NBA jump shot.
Yeah, I don't think so, at least not yet. Okoro is a guy who defensively is probably one of, if not the best prospect in the draft. Like, he's a guy who I think people expect to be able to defend some of the best wings in the NBA, like a Kawhi Leonard, like a LeBron James, and like a Luka Doncic. And that's something that is at a premium. Like, there aren't very many players in the NBA you can say that about. And I think that's why people are so high on Okoro. Like, if he is at all effective enough offensively to stay on the court, that defense is going to be such a big deal. Offensively, it's just he's not really good at anything yet. Like, he's going to need to develop just something to hang his hat on, whether that's a jump shot, whether he becomes a good cutter, whether he becomes a guy who could be like a third playmaker. Like, he's displayed some good passing and glimpses of making high IQ plays at certain points in his career. So I don't think it's too outlandish to envision him being kind of that third creator in the vein of like what Kentavious Caldwell-Pope did on the Lakers. Like, I don't think that's too far out of reach for Okoro, but it's just hard to imagine what his offensive role would be on an NBA team day one, you know?
Yeah, I feel that. For me, if I'm like looking at a college player, like, yeah, he's going to be an offensive NBA problem. Like, he has to dominate, bro. Like, there has to be like nothing that the people he's playing against can do to stop him, because you're moving up to a whole new tier of everyone who was the best player in college on their team and stuff. So like when I'm just watching him like take catch and shoot jumpers and following up and put back layups and stuff, like I'm not like feeling it. You feel me?
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this is a Washington Wizards team that was the worst or the second worst defensive team in the NBA. So they could definitely get some help on that end. And I do think Isaac Okoro is probably an upgrade on Troy Brown Jr. and Isak Bonga, who are their current options at the 3. So I do think this is a good fit for Okoro. And so, yeah, it'll just be kind of interesting to see how his career plays out. He's a guy who I had a hard time assessing what I thought of him. Ultimately, I do like him as a prospect just because I think if he hits, the value of having that defensive stopper was so high that I do think he's a guy I'd be willing to take a risk on. But, yeah, the offense could be very ugly.
Yeah. Jonah, this could just be like a stupid observation. I could sound like a dummy like usual, but are there like more players coming out of the SEC besides like Kentucky that are like pretty good? Because I feel like I don't remember a lot of guys coming out of the SEC.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Because like I don't really ever remember a guy coming out of like Georgia or Florida that's a top. They could just be the draft too.
I mean, yeah, like Bradley Beal from Florida, Al Horford, Joakim Noah. I mean, Georgia, you've got Contavious Caldwell-Pope, but yeah, like the SEC's got some good talent in it this year for sure.
Okay, yeah, all right. Joakim Noah went to Florida?
Yeah.
Oh, dang, that's cool. I didn't know that.
Any last Wizards or Okoro thoughts before we move along?
No, let's keep it busting.
To be honest, I don't know anything about anybody after the top 3. And still, it's very minimal.
With the 10th pick in the 2020 NBA draft, the Phoenix Suns select Killian Hayes, point guard from France.
Cholet.
Killian Hayes, I want to like him. Like there are a lot of people who I have a lot of respect for who love Killian Hayes. And I've watched a ton of Killian Hayes film, and I just have not been able to see it with him. I don't like him too much as a prospect right now. And I know, like, people are probably thinking if they're listening to this, like, the Suns just traded for Chris Paul. Do you really think they're going to draft another point guard? And I definitely think they will because, A, they traded away Ricky Rubio, and B, they traded away Ty Jerome, who is probably at the most upside of any of their young developmental point guards. Elie Kobo is non-guaranteed. Who knows if he's coming back? Javon Carter is a restricted free agent. I definitely think that in some way or another, the Suns are going to be looking for a point guard in some capacity of this free agency. I think Killian Hayes is a guy who does have a lot of upside due to his size and his shooting potential as a primary offensive creator.
Yeah.
The reason I don't like Killian Hayes from the film I saw is just I have a hard time seeing how he's going to create advantages at an NBA level. Like,
yeah, that's what I'm seeing too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. Like the step backs when he hits them are impressive, but he wasn't at all accurate with that. He's a genius playmaker out of the pick and roll. Like he has very high intelligence for a kid his age, but he's not athletic. So that's hurt him quite a bit. He cannot go right at all. He only dribbles with his left hand. So I think that's very predictable. So a guy with a predictable sort of bag of tricks and no athleticism, I just think he's going to
that's tough.
He's going to have a very hard time beating NBA defenders. So I think he could be a capable sort of backup point guard for a lot of his NBA career, but I don't really see him being a star the way some people do.
I don't see him starting ever.
Yeah, I'm a little bit lower than the consensus on Killian Hayes, so that's about all I have.
There's just too many good types of point guards, like athletic ones or crazy passers, crazy shooters. Like,
yeah,
Lamelo Ball. How many players are in the NBA, Jonah?
Well, 30 teams. Each team can have 15 players on their roster, so like 450, I guess.
Yeah, that's right. I thought there was like 500-ish.
Guess how many guys are there from the SEC out of the 450?
60.
73.
73. Wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Majority are from Kentucky, Tennessee, and Florida, though.
Yep. Very well represented. Now that we're outside of the top 10, I guess we'll go a little bit faster. With the 11th pick, the Spurs are going to take Saddiq Bey, who I think is one of the most polished 3-and-D guys in this draft. 6'8", very big frame, great positional size, was a 40% three-point shooter at Villanova. Smart player, too. He keeps the ball moving on the offense. He's one of those 2 dribbles and a good decision guy where either he'll shoot it or he'll keep the ball moving to the next open man. So I just think he's one of those plug-and-play guys like a Robert Covington, who will be one of the better 3-and-D players in the
Who's
NBA.
that?
Robert Portland.
Who does Robert Covington play for?
Portland.
Oh,
We're calling him Robert Portland now.
Robert Portland.
Mr. Portland.
Robbie Portland.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. So at 12, the Kings are going to take Devin Vassell. Vassell, another 3-and-D prospect, a little bit more athletic than Bey, a little more upside with his dribbling. He puts the ball on the floor a little bit more often than Bey does. The concern that's really arisen with Devin Vassell in the past month or so is with his jump shot. There was a video of him that kind of surfaced on Twitter where he was working out with a new trainer, and his jump shot, which allowed him to shoot 40% from 3 at college at Florida State, all of a sudden looked completely different, and he was like catapulting it from behind his head.
I gotta see this. What's his name?
Devin Vassell. Just search Devin Vassell jump shot and it'll come up. And I think that kind of made NBA teams very nervous about him and all of a sudden a little bit gun shy. Devin Vassell came out in an interview and said he was just joking around in a gym when he was doing that. So I hope he got a good laugh out of that
Sounds
joke.
like bad cap to me.
Yeah, I hope he enjoyed that joke because it's probably going to cost him upwards of $1 million. But he was still
drilling him though.
Yeah, I still believe in him. I think he's going to be a solid player. I don't like him quite as much as Saddiq Bey, just because I think Saddiq Bey's size and strength makes him like a higher floor player. But I think Vassell has a higher ceiling because he's already shown he can do some stuff off the bounce.
It seems like bad cap to me, bro. He's like they're in a drill. He's not just like shooting around.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I thought too. Like, why would you mess around in a drill like that?
He still drilled it though.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
The mechanics were a little ugly there.
But he still made it though.
No, it doesn't matter.
He still made it though.
At 13, the Pelicans are going to draft a guy who you really can't question his shooting at all, and that's Aaron Nesmith. Probably one of, if not the best shooter in this draft, shot 52% on over 100 attempts last season at Vanderbilt. So he's just a sniper. I love Aaron Nesmith. I like him more than Bey or Vassell. And the reason I like Nesmith so much is that at Vanderbilt, under coach Jerry Stackhouse, the Commodores ran a very NBA-esque offense where they had a lot of off-ball screens, a lot of movement. And so Vassell took a lot of three-pointers that are similar to the looks he'll be getting at the NBA level, where he'd come off a pin down or off of even like an elevator screen. Like they took some plays that seemed like they were straight from the Golden State Warrior playbook, and Nesmith excelled at that. So I think he's going to be well prepared for what he sees day one in the NBA.
I would steal stuff from the best franchise in basketball too.
Yeah, and he's got good positional size. He's not particularly quick on his feet or athletic, so I don't think he's going to be a plus defender, but I don't think he's going to be a defender guys pick on. So I would not be worried about that at all. Yeah, lights out shooter. So I have him going 13 to the Pelicans. It's going to be very important to add shooting around Lonzo and Zion. And so this is a step in the right direction. Another guy who I'd look out for here with the Pelicans pick is Jalen Smith. When we did the Pelicans preview, I mentioned how important it would be for them to get a center who's also a floor spacer. And Jalen Smith is one of the few guys who I can say that about in this draft. So yeah. At 14, the Celtics, with the first of their 3 picks, are going to take Tyrese Maxey, a guard out of Kentucky. Due to the Celtics roster crunch, they have a lot of players and limited roster spots. I think there is no way that they make all 3 of their picks in this draft. But if they did stay at 14, I have them taking Tyrese Maxey. Danny Ainge loves to take guys with good positional size, and Maxey certainly fits that billing. The main knock on Maxey is that he has trouble beating his defender in sort of a one-on-one context. But in the Celtics offense that tends to have such great movement and puts the defense in rotation and does a good job of sort of creating advantage situations, I think Maxey is going to be able to excel and show off his ability to attack the rim and finish. And I think Maxey is going to be a guy who the Celtics think they can develop into a long-term player for him. At 15, do you guys, or before I take the Magic, do you guys have any thoughts about the last few picks?
I don't really know much about these guys. I appreciate the insight, though.
Yeah, 15, the Magic. I have him taking Kira Lewis Jr., a point guard out of Alabama. The main thing about Kira Lewis Jr. is once he's drafted, he's probably going to be in the 99th percentile of fast NBA players. Like Jaren Fox might be faster than him. Russell Westbrook, LeBron James might be faster than him. But Kira Lewis Jr. is extremely fast. And he's a pretty decent shooter, too. He's only 19 years old, so still a lot of upside there. I think he's the perfect pick for the Magic, who need a point guard. And especially since I think Kyra, due to his shooting, will be able to play next to Markelle Fultz, too. So I think Kyra is a guy who has some long-term upside, good fit with them. So, yeah.
Word.
At 16, this was a pick that was interesting to make because 4 hours ago, I thought this would be the Portland Trailblazers pick. But all of a sudden,
Robert Portland, baby.
The Houston Rockets have made it into the first round. And the reason that this pick was so hard to make is that not only did the Rockets not have a pick, so there was no like rumors or reporting about who they were interested in, but also they have a first-time general manager in Raphael Stone and a first-time coach in Steven Silas. So there's really no like analog to go off of here, which is why I took the biggest wild card in this NBA draft, and that is Aleksej Pokusevski, the center out of Serbia. Aleksej Pokusevski, I think he's 7'1", 190 pounds.
Freaking bodied up, dude.
And to put that into context, I'm 5'11" and 140 pounds, and people say I'm skinny. So now you're adding on over a foot and only 50 pounds. And that's...
Yeah, I'm 6 feet, 175.
Yeah, and so Aleksej is just built like a stick figure, basically.
Yeah, bro, that's bad.
But if you go watch his highlights, he dominated the league he played in, which...
Really? That's dope.
It was a European league. It was like the second tier Serbian league or something, I want to say. It probably wasn't too much better than the rec league that Channon dominated.
I freaking dominated that thing. He should have just kept playing there, dude.
Yeah, not the highest level of competition. And to Channon's point, he probably will play there for a year more, maybe. He's a guy who I definitely consider a draft and stash candidate. So maybe he plays 1 or 2 more years overseas, honing his skill. Or maybe the Rockets draft him and decide they want him in the weight room training with their strength coaches right away. Like, that's a possibility too. Pokusevski is a guy who has a super high-end outcome because he's a 7-footer who can put the ball on the floor, block shots, and shoot threes. And that's just such an unreal combination. Like, you hear the comparisons to Kristaps. Like, I think Kristaps was a lot bigger than Pokusevski even when Kristaps came into the league, so I don't know about that. But I think there's a 75% chance Pokusevski never is a really NBA rotation player, but in that 25% chance where he does hit, that is just so tempting. And the Rockets are an absolute wild card, so why not take a gamble on Aleksej Pokusevski?
Facts, dude. Got absolutely nothing to lose.
Yeah.
I can just see him being a star. Just like I don't know. He just looks interesting. He's an interesting man. Boy.
I mean, the people always compare this draft to 2013, and in 2013 we saw a relatively unknown European guy go in the middle of the first round, and that turned out to be Giannis Antetokounmpo. So I'm not saying he's going to be the next Giannis, but who knows? Number 17, the Timberwolves are going to take Josh Green, a shooting guard out of Arizona. Great defender, very athletic. The swing skill for him is kind of the shot. If he can hit the three-pointer, he's going to be a pretty good 3-and-D guard.
I recognize this guy.
Yeah, he's got good cutting instincts too, very athletic. So he's definitely a guy who I think could outplay this draft stock. I think the main concern is just like if the shooting doesn't come around, there's not a lot of space in the NBA for guards who can't shoot.
Ooh, so, didn't he kill the Beavs this last year?
I don't remember.
I forget. He looks really familiar.
At number 18, I've got the Mavericks taking Desmond Bane, the forward or the wing out of Texas Christian. Desmond Bane, on the other hand, is a guy who there are no concerns about his shot. Well, there might be some, but not because it doesn't go in. Over his career at TCU, he took, I think, over 500 threes, and he shot at above a 40% clip, so he can shoot the lights out. Yeah. He is one of a very rare breed, an NBA player who has a negative wingspan, basically meaning his wingspan is listed as being shorter than his height, which is not common for NBA players, and sort of limits his upside on defense and sort of limits the ability he'll have to get his shot off in the NBA. Like, he'll need to be, I think, a little bit more wide open than your average wing to shoot the ball. Like, when you watch him, it looks almost like a little T-Rex shooting. Like, his arms are just very short. But
come on, bro.
But he's got a strong base. He tries hard on defense, so I don't think he's going to be somebody people pick on that end. I don't think he has like very high-end defensive upside, but I do think he'll be a good role player. I do think he's a guy who you can plug in and play almost immediately in the NBA. And the Mavericks, really, their best defender on the wing last year was, for large parts of the playoffs, it was Dorian Finney-Smith or even Maxi Kleber. So the Mavericks definitely need to add some wing defense, and I think Tyler Bay at 18 is about as good as you can hope for.
It's too bad they don't have a guy like Robert Portland, someone like that, you know what I'm saying?
Robert Portland. Yeah, that's a good nickname for him. At 19, the moment we've all been waiting for, the Brooklyn Nets are going to select Tyrell Terry, point guard out of Stanford. Now, Tyrell Terry is, in my opinion, one of, if not the best player in this draft. I think Lamelo is the best, but I think Tyrell has a case.
I got to see some highlights.
He is an insane shooter, limitless range. Like, he's got very real Trae Young upside. NBA teams give prospects an IQ test where basically they watch film and they pause the film and ask the prospect to like make the read or say what they would do without knowing what's going to happen in the play. And Tyrell Terry broke the NBA record for.
He also did go to Stanford, so
that's dope, dude. I would do horrible at that, I think.
And he did go to Stanford, so he's a very bright kid, very high character, great shooter, great competitor. And I think people hate on him because of his size. He's 6'3", 180 pounds. That's not small for a point guard.
He's listed at 6'1".
Yeah, so at the Combine, his most recent measurement.
Oh, yeah, he's 6'3" now, I guess.
Yeah, coming a little higher. So I do think that's one of the reasons he's been moving up NBA boards. Like, I liked him even before we knew he was 6'3".
I definitely see the Trae Young comparison.
I did see that high-end upside. And so Tyrell is a guy I still like. Apparently, he killed it in his interview with the Nets. Like, the Nets love him. And why not? Like, the Nets coach is Steve Nash now. And I think Tyrell Terry, if you can compare any player in this draft to Steve Nash, like, I think Tyrell Terry possesses some similar traits. I just think he would be a beautiful fit on this Nets team.
Yeah.
He would be a great first developmental project for Steve Nash.
He's actually nice.
Yeah, I cannot wait to watch Tyrell Terry in the NBA. He's a guy who I just love. Like, I think he's.
Do you like awesome. Tyrell Terry?
I like him a lot.
You like Tyrell Terry like I like Daniel Jones.
Pull that thing, boy.
Yeah, basically.
No, dude, he's got a nice shot.
Yeah, he's amazing.
And he, like you said, he shoots it effortlessly. Yeah, he looks good.
Yeah, he's better than I thought he'd be for sure.
I think his floor is like a Seth Curry type player, but I do think he has legitimate like Trae Young killer. So.
But yeah,
at 20, the Heat are going to select another point guard, RJ Hampton from the USA.
I know who that is, bro. Why do I know who that is?
Yeah, RJ
Barrett.
Well, RJ Hampton was a super highly touted high school prospect.
Okay.
He went to New Zealand and kind of saw his draft stock decline a little bit, but he's very athletic, very quick first step, very good at getting to the basket, which is important for a guard to do. And over the past couple of months, I think he's impressed teams with how his shooting's developed. Like at his pro day, he did look very good shooting the ball. He's worked with who is it? Mike Miller. Mike Miller's his shooting trainer now, and it definitely shows. Like RJ's been putting in some serious work on that jumper, and I do think that gives him some high upside. He's still a young kind of prospect who is a little raw, a few years away from maybe being ready to compete. But I think if anybody's can take on that challenge, it's the Miami Heat. Like they kind of like having those little experiment.
Yeah, I think that's a good fit for him.
Yeah. So I think RJ is going to be a good fit there. At 21, the Sixers, this might be a bit of a reach, but I have them taking Malachi Flynn, the point guard out of San Diego State. I definitely think the Sixers need some sort of upgrade over Shake Milton as sort of their shooting point guard. And I mean, Ben Simmons can be the stand 5 feet away from the basket point guard. They need a shooting point guard. And I think Malachi Flynn can definitely do that. At San Diego State, he was a good pick and roll ball handler, a good shooter. I think teams have concerns about his athleticism and his ability to get downhill to the basket, which will prevent him from being like that high of an upside guy. He's also kind of older. I think he's like 22 right now. So he's not a high upside pick, but I do think the floor of him shooting and his just IQ, he's got a good feel for the game. I think those are skills the Sixers could probably use right away. Very competitive too. Like I think people have like been raving about his character and about his like will to win. So the Sixers could use some of that.
They need that type of player.
At 22, the Nuggets are going to take Precious Achiuwa, the forward, out of.
Don't do that.
What's wrong with Precious Achiuwa?
Shut up, dude. Channon trying to make sexy faces.
Sorry, you asked for it. Anyways.
Yeah. So anyway, Achiuwa, I like him for the Nuggets. He's another one of those kind of raw guys. He doesn't really have any sort of a game on offense. He can't shoot. He can't dribble. Terrible decision maker. Turned the ball over a ton at Memphis. But
why is he getting drafted?
There are draft scouts who will tell you he's the best defender in this draft. There are people who will say he's the only guy they think can guard every position from 1 through 5. And I think a guy who you can say that about has some serious NBA upside. I think the Nuggets are going to take the leap with him. And I think he's a good fit with the Nuggets because even if the offensive skills don't turn out to be very good, you at least can maybe have the hope that he can play off ball and sort of become like a good cutter or something that can play next to Jokic and Murray, which I don't know. I think they'll just take a gamble on the defensive upside, especially in terms of like the 3 members of their core right now are Michael Porter Jr., Jamal Murray, and Nikola Jokic. Not a lot of defense. You might as well take a gamble on Precious becoming an NBA player.
Well, yeah, because you're off. It's not like you're in need of offense anyway.
Yeah. At 23, the Jazz are going to take Tre Jones, the point guard out of Duke. Tre Jones is a guy who I think is getting a little bit underrated. He was the defensive player of the year in the ACC. He's also a solid shooter, a pretty good decision maker. He pushes the ball really well in transition. He's a guy who reminded me a lot of Fred VanVleet when I watched his tape. And I definitely think that's a guy who's got a place in the NBA. And so, yeah, that basically, like, Tre Jones is going to be a guy who I would be very surprised if he doesn't turn out to be a good NBA player, just because of his defense and shooting, if nothing else. I don't think he has very much upside. Like, he's never going to be like a top 10 point guard. He's probably never going to be a top 15 point guard in the NBA. But he's going to be a good rotational player for a long time, and that's why I like Tre Jones. At number 24, the Pelicans are back on the clock. And remember when they were picking at 13 and I suggested maybe they take Jalen Smith? Well, Jalen Smith fell all the way to them at 24. And that's why I have a little caveat here. We don't know what the Bucks package was to acquire Jrue Holiday, but I've got to assume this pick was part of it. And so I'm pretty sure this pick is in the Pelicans' hands right now. But if I'm wrong, and it turns out the Bucks were somehow able to find 5 other picks, this pick could be made by Milwaukee. But under the assumption that this was part of the Holiday package, I think the Pelicans take Jalen Smith as a guy who can shoot threes and protect the rim. Jalen Smith's lack of athleticism and lack of defensive upside, which comes from like stiffness and slow feet, that limits his upside. That's why he's not a lottery pick. But I think he's an awesome fit for the Pels here at 24. At 25, the Thunder are going to take Jaden McDaniels, the wing out of the University of Washington. McDaniels is a guy who went into this year.
Jonah needs some water.
Yeah. And people, I've been talking like nonstop for the past hour and a half.
We're the only one that knows anything.
But people thought Jaden McDaniels could be like a top 5 overall pick. He was super disappointing at Washington. Now he's like a mid to late first round pick. The Thunder love these athletic wings who have high upside but are very underdeveloped. Jaden McDaniels fits into that category. I think the Thunder definitely have a type, and Jaden McDaniels is that type. I definitely think the Thunder won't pass on the chance to pick him. And he does still have the upside. Like if he can, he's a 6'10" kid who's super long and can play with the ball in his hands. So there's always some upside there. At 26, the Celtics, with their second pick of this draft, but not their last, are going to take Leandro Bolmaro, a small forward out of Argentina. I think the only reason the Celtics would take this guy is just they won't have this pick in all likelihood. But if they do have this pick, I do think they take Bolmaro just because they can draft and stash him, which basically means he can play. He still has 2 more years left on his contract in Spain. So he can just play a couple more years in Spain before he comes and joins the Celtics. And I think that's something that the Celtics would find.
I didn't know that draft and stash thing. I didn't know that was a thing. That's dope.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a player who we would know who has had it used on. Like, do you know Chuma Okeke, the Magic?
Sick name.
Yeah, the Magic signed him today, and he was a draft and stash guy. Yeah, I'm sure there are more who I'm forgetting of who would be a better example. At 27, the Knicks are on the clock again, and they take Cole Anthony. The guard out of North Carolina was considered like a top 5 pick going into this year.
Dude, I remember that. I remember the Cole Anthony hype. That's to do with the little like baby dreads, right?
Yeah. I think me and Channon saw him live and in person at the Moda Center, right?
What?
At the Nike. Were you there at the Nike?
No, I think that was Tanner.
Were you not with us, though?
No.
Oh. Okay, well, so Channon missed out on a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to see a guy who I think is going to go 27th overall in the draft to the New York Knicks. I mean, I still think Cole maybe has some potential. I do think his athleticism did not translate in the way some people hoped it would. Like, he has a tough time finishing through contact. His first step isn't as explosive as I hoped, but he can still create shots for himself. His field doesn't seem tremendous at this point. Like, big part of it could be due to the lack of spacing and lack of very good teammates at North Carolina, but he wasn't a very good creator at that level, which sort of was a disappointment. But yeah, anyway, Cole Anthony, 27 to the Knicks. Another guy who I thought of for the Knicks was Nico Mannion.
Oh, I remember that.
Nico.
I do think it's important to pair shooting and basically just pair shooting next to RJ Barrett, and he's definitely a shooter. Plus,
is that a roast, Jonah?
And if you're gonna have a lead ball handler who can't shoot, you've got to have.
That's realistic, bro. It's
and I think the analog here is last year the Knicks took Ignas Brazdeikis in the second round, who was another redheaded genetic mistake. So I definitely think that Nico Mannion.
Oh my god!
Could be a pick, but no.
Jesus, that's the most controversial thing you've ever said ever.
I was joking. That's a quote from Entourage, but anyway.
Who?
Yeah. Entourage.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that show?
No, I haven't.
It's good.
I've heard of it.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think they're gonna take Nico. I think Cole makes a lot of sense. 28, the Thunder. Robert Woodard II.
Robert Portland? I don't think so. He's in Portland, baby.
Yeah, just another big, oversized wing. Just great positional size. He's not a good shooter. Can't really do anything on offense, so that's why he's this low in the draft. But the Thunder definitely have a few of those already. At 29th, the Raptors select Tyler Bay out of Colorado, Pac-12 Defensive Player of the Year. Great ball hawk into passing lanes, and will get a lot of steals. I just don't really think he can shoot it well enough to be a very good NBA player. But I do think Tyler Bay has some fans out there. I think the Raptors will take a chance. And the last pick of the first round is Isaiah Stewart to the Boston Celtics, the center out of Washington. Lost a lot of weight during quarantine and can now semi-shoot three-pointers. So I think that's kind of revived some interest he has amongst NBA teams, but a little undersized to play center. Wasn't an awesome defender in college, so or he was a good defender in college. I just don't think it'll translate to the NBA because he'll be playing against guys who are 3 or 4 inches taller than him. But yep, that's the first round of the draft.
Dude,
that probably got very dry after a while.
Great work.
It's great work by you, as always. And also, I'm interested to see if it actually happens too. You really think Isaac will drop to 9?
Isaac Okoro?
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, somebody's gonna have to drop. Whether it's him or Avdija or Okongwu. One of those guys is gonna have to drop to 9. So
it's inevitable.
What's more likely to happen? Warriors get Obi Toppin or LaMelo Ball?
LaMelo Ball.
LaMelo Ball would look good in Warriors uniform.
He'd look horrible.
You know who's gonna look awful? Robert Covington.
There's a waste of time saying that because it's not true. We've already seen him look absolutely fantastic in red.
In red, yeah. That's facts. I don't know.
I can't speak on Brown though. We'll have to see about Brown.
Who?
How he looks in brown for a New Jersey.
Yeah. That's
what?
Too bad.
Our city jerseys are brown.
Oh, those Oregon ones?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The base color's brown?
Yeah, they're very ugly.
I think they're kind of sick.
I didn't know that. Wow, okay. But yeah, guys, this was good. Good job, Jonah. You're a freaking animal, man.
Facts.
You're a freaking beast. I don't even know how you know all these guys, but there's quite a few Pac-12 guys in there mixed in at the end. Last 2 picks of the first round could be Pac-12 guys.
Yeah, and I think in the second round, Nico Manning's probably going to get drafted. Peyton Pritchard get drafted. I have nothing.
You like Nico Mannion?
Yeah, I have nothing against Nico Manning. I just don't really think he's going to be a good NBA player.
I think he could be. Who knows?
I don't think he will be.
Where's Peyton going?
I think he's going to go in the top 10 picks of the second round.
To who?
My TV will be off by that point.
I don't know who's going to take Peyton Pritchard. The one other pick I wanted to talk about, 46 Portland Trailblazers, Jay Scrubb, I think is the pick there.
Let's go.
Yeah, dude. Let's go. LaMelo Ball. I'm going to be a Warrior. Obi Toppin could be a Warrior.
Both of them. They're both going to be Warriors.
James Wiseman most likely going to be
all 3 of them are going to be Warriors.
Let's go. We're going to be stacked. Eric Pascal, dude. And then what's his name? My boy.
Jordan
I'm
Poole.
so tired right now. What's his name? Michigan boy. Little mustache. Jordan Poole.
I think by the end of Wednesday night, Bob Myers will have found a way to trade for every first round pick. And the Warriors will just draft every player in the first round.
That'd be sick.
That's
Let's go. Just have 2 separate franchises. Just have a crazy farm system in the G League. Have everybody on 2-way contracts. Send guys up and down.
Farm system.
Be sick. Okay. Good job, Jonah, as always. Channon, I'm so glad.
Brothers.
I'm so glad that you gave a new nickname to Robbie Portland.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for sharing this glorious evening with us, Channon.
Thanks, bro.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Hopefully you don't get too big for us, you know.
Well, I mean, I do in the gym quite a bit, so.
Are you going to a gym?
No, I work out right here, right there.
That's cool. Yeah, I wouldn't go to a gym right now. I don't want to get sick.
That's bad cap.
I guess I will see you guys on Thursday.
Yes,
Yes,
I'm gonna make
sir.
timestamps, and I might make I might try to make
Yes,
individual
sir.
videos maybe.
Yes.
For what?
For like, I will obviously post the whole thing, but maybe you can go like, I can make a video where it's like picks one, like the top 3
Oh, yeah.
or something like that.
Yeah, like top 3, 4 through 10, 11
Yeah.
through 20, 21 through 30.
Yeah, something like that.
I think we started to make pretty good pace once we got like to pick 15.
Oh yeah, I thought this was fantastic.
Robert Portland.
All right, cool.
All right, I'll get out of here so we don't get too much Robert Covington ASMR. Okay.
Later,
Bye
boys.
guys.
Later.